Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we're pleased to bring you a tournament match from the No Major Glitches Any Percent 2021 tournament for A Link to the Past. So it should be a lot of fun because these are quick, fast, and furious. And on commentary today, I am pleased to have Matt7898 and Clear Mouse. And how you both doing?
I am doing great. Really looking forward to this match.
Okay.
Matt, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. Yeah, this should be a good one. We got two relatively close PVs that are kind of vying for position here in this group, so I'm pretty interested to see how this turns out.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I will let you both do it while I talk to the runners to get it started. Thank you.
Thanks, Nari. Yeah, as you said, this group actually was surprisingly close. Just in terms of like initial seeding, and very, very competitive. In fact, the lowest initial seed in this group, which is Group F, is seed number 27. So both these guys super experienced in NMG, very, very competitive times. I think we actually looked up their PBs before this. Caznode has a 125.07. Kohrek also recently PB'd with a 126.08. So their PBs are about a minute apart. I mean, but like 125 and 126 is certainly no small matter to be had in an NMG PB.
Yeah, and a minute is really not a whole lot in this speed run. It's just really one small mistake can eat up that time very quickly. I know both of these guys have been grinding a decent amount. I see Kohrek has been playing a ton, and he's gotten his PB down a lot over the past 2 or 3 months. I think Caznode is on the 124 grind now, so I'm sure he's in pretty good shape as well as we are about to get started.
Yes. Hi Greenham and hi Clearboss. I very much approve of these guys' file names. Alright, so we have what is probably considered to be the absolutely most exciting portion of the NMG run, mainly because this is the most frequently played, so therefore I can only assume that everybody absolutely loves this segment when they're practicing their NMG runs.
Oh yeah, everybody loves Escape, making your wrists hurt, just pumping everywhere.
So we almost have synced push pickups for both Kohrek and Caznode as they trudge through the rain in order to rescue Princess Zelda.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot to talk about here in Escape, as pretty much everybody says at the beginning of these races. It's really all about making sure you have clean movement, getting through doors cleanly. There's one ball and chain guard that could give you a little bit of trouble, but other than that, these runners should have absolutely no issues getting through Escape.
So of course, Escape being kind of part of the first pre-11-ish minute boots setup, it doesn't have a lot of, as you said, movement tools. So yeah, they're going to basically be very much heavily relying upon their D-pad, mashing or pumping their D-pad, and yeah, as you said, just very clean movement. A lot of the movement is actually really subtle, so to maybe more or less like the untrained eye observer, probably the difference between kind of like a 550 escape time versus like a 555 is, unless you kind of put two runs side by side, it is actually going to be somewhat more of a difficult to kind of tell the difference between, because we go through so many screens and rooms, and every room's difference is just like a couple frames here and there. So they definitely add up. So you definitely really want to be still very much focused, but it's really going to be a good. We're definitely going to see some good comparisons between Kohrek and Caznode here.
Yeah, that's true. We got some pretty good sync going on so far. Yeah, both these guys look like they have pretty similar escape golds, so you're not going to see a whole lot of difference coming through here. There is some subtle RNG based on how the guards move, or the rats and snakes later on. Both runners getting a pretty good spin on this second key guard here, so no issues there. So they're about to go down into the ball and chain guard. This is kind of the one part of escape that can give you a little bit of trouble. There's a few different strategies you can use. I expect both these guys to go for the 8/, but in this tournament situation where survival is key, I wouldn't be surprised to see someone in this tournament grab a pot.
Yeah, as you said, dying is very important to not have that happen. But of course, on the same time, you know, your Kohrek facing caznode, your caznode facing Kohrek, you're probably going to want to try and buy as much frames and times as you can against a very, very difficult opponent.
Yeah, in like these tournament races, you will see like some subtle changes, I think, from what you might see in these guys like RTA PB attempts. But really, often the safest strategy is also the fastest strategy, so you don't want to change too much.
Yeah, and especially, as you said, in a very competitive race setting, you are just going to do whatever you feel is most comfortable. Just play your game and hope things work out for the better.
Yeah, so again, I believe Kohrek had like a slightly cleaner ball and chain guard, so he's, half a room ahead at this point as we continue to struggle to find ways to talk about escape, but the run gets interesting soon enough.
I think, at least to execute like a really good escape, right? It's probably certainly going to be more interesting on the runner themselves, as opposed to maybe necessarily the viewers. But we're getting closer and closer to kind of dropping off Princess Zelda at her designated appointment with the Sanctuary Priest.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their group here. So it looks like caznode, they both played the same opponent in Ase. I believe caznode won and Kohrek lost.
Yeah, so I didn't actually get a chance to catch caznode versus Oase, but I did see their race time. So yeah, as you said, caznode did finish with probably a 40-second lead over caznode. Kohrek, on the other hand, I think had about a 2-minute loss, and it was actually incredibly close right up to Ganon, where anything can happen in these races. And in fact, as you mentioned, there was a death or two on Ganon to kind of cost Kohrek probably like a very, very close finish.
Yeah, both those races were super close and really interesting races. So now we're getting to kind of the one sort of major piece of RNG in Escape, which is our friendly key rat here. Looks like Kohrek got a pretty ideal. Oh, they both got the same RNG, so no real gain or loss there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kohrek did get kind of bamboozled by a rat. Unfortunately, knocked him back a little bit, and the rat also dropping a very tempting blue rupee, but Kohrek, of course, saying no to greed. He's going to be able to find his money later on in this.
So both these guys put in a pretty good escape here. This is going to be like a 52 or a 53. Yeah, it looks like 52 for caznode, 53 for Kohrek. They're both going to be pretty happy with that. Now, this is the first kind of safety decision. I expect to see both of these players grab the sandcart. In a tournament situation, there's really not a whole lot of merit in skipping it. I think Kohrek even gets it in his PB attempts as well.
That is correct. Yeah. Does caznode not do that?
I don't know, actually. I would assume he doesn't, but you never know.
Oh, wow. All right, so we might have a difference of opinion here for who's on Team Sankheart for their normal RTA PVs. But yeah, as you said, so Sankheart has, I think, is MVP for this tournament. It has saved so many runners, so many lives at one point or another. I mean, it's even if you have non-Sankheart muscle memory, like that one heart basically can make a big difference between whether or not you die at a boss and then you have to redo 3 minutes of the run, or you can continue with maybe like a 10-second loss or something.
Yeah, and especially in this kind of tournament setting, like, I don't care who you are, there is going to be a little bit of nerves coming into the situation where, you have to have a good race pretty much, and just any kind of slight change in an input or anything at like tons of points in this run can ruin your run. So as you see Caznode getting a nice 20 drop there from that Octorock, that'll allow him to not have to worry about ruby drops for the rest of the light world here.
Yeah, really fortunate difference of RNG, and you saw that 20 rupees is actually pretty significant. Caznode was definitely willing to spend that 17 frames in order to boomerang that money. Kohrek not having as great a luck, but with money, but there is still plenty of enemies that he still needs to kill that can drop some good cash for him.
Yeah, and so Now we're heading into Eastern Palace here. So with Sankheart, there's not a ton of danger in Eastern Palace. There's some pretty interesting execution rooms. You still see coming up here to this, what should be a forced Stalfos room, but they're going to do a strategy here where they walk in a specific direction and throw those pots so that they can kill 2 Stalfos before they all spawn and view the room much faster.
Yeah, for more casual players in that room, just kind of start wandering around. There are indeed supposed to be 4 Stalfos popping up there, so yeah, cutting down the number of enemies by half is quite the time save.
Yeah, and so Kohrek here is going to have a couple more opportunities to kill some popos and advance his prize pack to get a few more rupees. See both runners having no issue with the key pot here. So coming up, we have what's kind of oddly called the big key skip. They're going to bounce off this popo and use their iframes to pick up a pot and grab the Eastern Palace big key. Both runners executing it pretty well. Kohrek a tiny bit of trouble, but not a big deal.
Yeah, and you see normally the path that you actually see Kohrek going left versus caznode going right. The ideal path, of course, is to go left because you actually see the door is slightly off to the left, but looks like caznode got some unfortunate RNG, so he just kind of took a detour instead.
Yeah, both runners gonna grab the bow here and head into the back.
Yeah, of course, with that big key room, if you've ever tried to play that room casually, the intention, of course, is for you to kill all the enemies, and then all the anti-fairies will kind of disperse and you can step on a switch. Those anti-fairies are extremely obnoxious, actually. They are really, really good at getting into your way, so that skip actually does save quite a bit of time.
Yes, now we're coming into kind of the 2 heaviest execution rooms in Eastern Palace, the Zelda Gamer Room and double readies here. Both runners doing a pretty reasonable job.
Yeah, we see some unfortunate money not necessarily even landing in Kohrek's path. Unfortunately, we saw some blue and red. So Kohrek still's got plenty of chances for money though. caznode, on the other hand, just kind of adding on to his rupee pile, getting another 10 drop.
You saw like a subtle difference there in the way they handled the Armos fight. Caznode's strategy there is, I think on average, a little bit faster than the one that Kohrek used, but still, we're very close together.
Yeah,
See,
was that something like 20 frames or something like that? I remember it being like very, very small in terms of difference.
Yeah, I think optimally they're about the same, but it's just a lot easier to get slightly faster times with the way that Caznode did it. So both runners sub 11 with Sankheart. It's not nothing to complain about there.
Yeah, no. And of course, the biggest motivation for you to finish up Eastern Palace quickly is that you get the prize that you get when you turn in the green pendant, which are the boots. These are going to be some very, very heavily nice movement tools that you can do, and we're going to see a demonstration right out of the gate.
Yeah, there you're seeing kind of the first of our allowed minor glitches, the spin speed glitch. So by releasing their spin and hitting A the frame after they release it and going upstairs, when you come off the stairs, you maintain your boot speed and you can change direction, which is very useful in a lot of places in this run.
Oh yeah, and especially if that's for spin speed, right? You kind of just do the initial dash. You can actually see that we basically get to keep super speed throughout the entire screen, as opposed to we have to continuously start our dashes and then start up our dashes for those dash lines.
You see a slight difference in strategy there. Caznode going for the library spin speed, while Kohrek just opting to dash.
Yeah, actually, and the execution from caznode was actually very clean for this spin speed. I think it does optimally to save a little bit more time. I'm actually not quite familiar with how many frames, but getting into that library door on super speed is actually can be quite violent, so caznode did a really good job basically just getting into there first try.
Yeah, I see Caznode has a 29-17 Light World in his PB with 2 blue balls. That is really good.
Wow.
So I would expect to see some pretty high-level execution out of this Light World from him.
Unfortunately, both runners getting kind of a little bit bodied here by blue guard. Separate ones, of course, but it's definitely not... Whenever you get interrupted on your dashes, you're never really happy because, again, you have to restart your dashes again and realign yourself.
Yeah, Kohrek going for a bit of a greedy dash there in front of that blue guard. He can bump you out if you get a little bit of bad RNG, but not too big of a deal.
Health at this point certainly is not going to be too big of an issue. You know, just like Eastern Palace, is not going to be too many. In Desert Palace, is not going to be too many things that kill you outside of Landmo himself. But of course, you know, it's not necessarily even like the health or the damage at this point. It is just the time it's going to cost our runners to kind of redo what they were originally intending to do.
Yeah, Desert Palace, not too dangerous here. Really just about getting clean dashes.
Yeah, definitely one of the things that we see for game design, right, is after Easter Palace, we get our boots. What is the best way to demonstrate how well these boots work? Extremely long hallways and very nice, easy turns to make.
Yeah, you see coming up to this this cannonball room here where you're going to get the big key. There's a little bit of RNG here depending on the cannonball pattern. Caznode getting a very good patterning, allowing him to just dash right through the room, and luckily Kohrek getting the same RNG.
Of course, we did see that these runners are playing separate ROMs, of course, so it's maybe if you're somewhat more familiar with the randomizer scene, there is nothing that is seeded between these two runners. They are playing completely separate games. And in fact, one of the things coming up, which is the Agnum fight, the number of blue balls is 100% not going to be static. So that could definitely make or break the races between two runners.
You see Kohrek there grabbing that extra pot in the switch room because he's so low on rupees. So it's kind of another subtle place where that good luck that Kazno had to get that 20 is helping him out a little bit. So now we're coming up to the second of the optional spin speeds of this run.
Optional?
Looks like Caznode is going for it.
Yeah, alright, so you did see what he did was he helped with a menu buffer to kind of switch the lamp to help him stop his direction and kind of readjust himself to make sure that he absolutely does not fall off the ledge, because if you fall off the ledge, guess what you're going to, guess what you have the pleasure of redoing, which is the front of Desert.
Yeah, it's like a minute time loss for a couple frames saved, so the risk to reward is pretty high. But when you get into this level, those are the type of strategies that you're going to have to add to your game.
Yeah, we just see Kohrek getting slightly bullied by these po' boys. Unfortunately, also a bit unlucky because they didn't also drop any money for him. Caznode making it straight through, getting a little bit of trouble using the lamp here, lighting the 4 torches.
So now we're coming up to the Lamb Molus fight. This is a pretty high execution fight here, and so this could be the first major source of difference between our runners. You really want a 3 cycle or even a 2 cycle if you're really good.
I did hear a 1 cycle is actually possible, but you're going to need some very, very specific things to go right for you.
Both runners having an okay first cycle here.
Yeah, so you actually did see both runners actually dashing to the wall and bonking. That is actually their normal setup to try and kind of predict and read the first cycle, which is actually fixed given that there actually are quite a few patterns. The rest is actually going to be more or less reactions, and I hope you don't get too many short hops.
Yeah, really nice 3 cycles by both runners, I believe, so... not a whole lot of difference coming out of Desert Palace here.
Yeah, and of course, you know, it's definitely really good to be able to see, you know, both runners keeping very, very competitive times with each other. You see that there's actually this really nice dash that both runners ended up trying to make. Kohrek getting a little bit bodied by the Sandman, which is you dash all the way to the bottom of the, I guess like skeleton bones. Swing out your sword that automatically hits the Sandman that's going to pop out, and so he doesn't hit you, and then you can dash the rest of the way through.
Yeah, now we're seeing on Kohrek's side here the second minor glitch that's allowed here, fake flippers. By jumping in the water and screen transitioning, they're allowed to swim without the flippers. So now we're going into the Tower of Hera split. This split for regular speedruns is probably the most reset heavy for most runners. So in this like tournament setting, what you really want in this split is just to have no disasters happen.
Yeah, disasters can come in many ways, shapes, and forms. In particular, there are the cute, quote-unquote ones, which is in the form of dead rocks. There are the round ones that can come in the form of boulders, and of course there are the moving ones, which can come in the form of small or big moldorms.
Yeah, on Casno's side, you get our first appearance of our dead rock friends there. Nice reaction by him to hold his sword out to kind of make sure that he'd be safe no matter how that dead rock moved. See Kohrek doing the same strategy.
Yeah, it looks like caznode taking a very slight pause on the stairs in order to make sure he gets his spin speed and hopefully doesn't get bamboozled by any boulders.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's your cabbages falling from the sky, your dead rocks. There's a lot of things that can just chip away at your health here coming up Death Mountain. Both runners getting that Death Mountain spin speed very nicely.
Yeah, of course, coming into, so everything pretty much in Tower of Hera does 1 heart of damage, so, you know, the ideal case, of course, I'm really glad, yeah, Kohrek didn't get dead rocked right outside of Hera. That was pretty rude animal critter there. But yeah, so both runners coming into Hera with 5 hearts and 6 hearts, which is definitely a very respectable amount of health. Hopefully should be enough in this case to guard against anything too treacherous. We see that both runners ended up paying the heart entry as they both venture into Hera basements.
Yeah, again, you're seeing differences in strategy. Caznode doing the boom dash here to give himself invincibility frames on the blocks. It lets you have kind of a nice break, whereas Kohrek is just kind of waiting between these pots and just making sure he doesn't get hit by the tiles.
Yeah, and so I'm actually not quite sure what caznode, I guess, normally does in Hera Basement. This is very much in line with what Kohrek does in Hera Basement. So again, do whatever you feel is comfortable. And of course, no, we have the mirror, so there is no reason to take any extra health in terms of damage in order to death warp out.
That is true. And so now we got Caznode going to upstairs Hera. There's this beetle room is very tricky to execute well as he's coming into. You also have a bomb jump coming up to get the Moon Pearl, which can be treacherous as well. And of course, the infamous Moldorm fight. All things that you really want to make sure you execute well in this situation.
Yeah, so with 5 hearts, looks like caznode actually is not going to flip the switch. So typically speaking, at least in RTA runs at this level, there's no way probably that these runners are going to flip the switch from blue to orange. Of course, in a tournament setting, if you think you're maybe low on health, if you split the switch, you do get an extra heart potentially, or some refills, just in case anything terrible goes wrong at Moldorm.
Both runners getting clean bomb jumps, which is what you want to see here. So Caznode going into the Moldorm fight, you got to be careful here. Moldorm can go in a lot of different directions, and he can bump you off his platform here, which is going to cause quite a bit of time. Oh, I see Kohrek falling to the bumper skip.
Yeah, unfortunately. Caznode did do a nice job doing that, yes, but of course, if you don't end up dashing through the bumper in the correct pixel, you end up, of course, I guess, getting bumpered. Oh man, we see Caznode, going through the most dangerous phase of Moldorm, really having some difficulty, but manages to not get knocked off, which is the most important part.
Yeah, he did play it a little safe there. As you see Kohrek getting a little unlucky with that dash, running into Moldorm's head and bumping himself off the side. So we got Kohrek coming for round 2. see him using dashes to not take damage from Moldorm as he dashes through to get him. He's got 1 heart left. This is... Oh, be careful, Kohrek. Oh, okay, there we go.
All right.
That was... my heart. That was tough. Good thing he got through, though.
Yeah, that was a quite dramatic fight on Kohrek's side, and Kohrek just demonstrated exactly why we very much value picking up Sank Heart in tournament races, because without that Sank Heart, Kohrek probably would have had to start Tower of Hera from anew.
Yeah, that's number 1 on the Sank Heart saving your butt counter, so...
All right, so with all that, caznode looks like he has already made his way, or making his way towards the pedestal. He looks like I did not hear actually any bonks on his side. There is, which you see on Kohrek's side, coming off of Deathbound Descent. This is probably one of the most important caves that you do not want to bonk on, because you see actually at the very end when Kohrek menu buffer from the bow, he canceled his dash. If you end up dashing and then bonking, you're gonna end up falling into a pit, and then you're gonna redo that entire cave all over again.
Yes, you see both runners making their way to the Master Sword. You saw Kohrek pull on that tree and get some rupees. After that, he's going to have to kill 4 enemies without getting hit, and there's going to be another tree on the way back where he will pull an additional 80 rupees to get his required money for the Palace of Darkness, which is our first Dark World dungeon.
Alright, so... Yep. As Kohrek is pulling the pedestal and getting his Master Sword, we just see the second message, well, I guess first official on-screen message of help from Princess Zelda on Caznode's side. And we see actually Caznode, because he was so flush with cash earlier in the seed, he actually only needed to pick up 3 red rupees, so he's going to be able to get another 5 from Agnum's Tower in the Circle of Pots towards the end. For his requisite 110.
Yeah, so now both runners are making their way to Aghanim's Tower. This is like a really high execution split. You'll see a pretty big difference between high-level runners and kind of mid-level runners in Aga Tower. A lot of really tricky rooms to get through.
Yeah, so actually right before Caznode kind of entered Hyrule Castle, we're going to see Kohrek also doing this as well, is that he actually intentionally kind of dashed towards the left side as opposed to the center, and you really want to be able to do that just in order to kind of nudge and clink the guards, because if you run actually right to the center, there's actually a good chance that you can get hit for some reason through this with the guard's swords, and then you end up losing beams or health. It's going to be quite detrimental to speed.
Yeah, you see Caznode dashing through those blue guards to kill them. He did that to preserve his prize pack, so in 50 minutes from now we'll get a fairy because we did that.
Yeah. But this was also something somewhat peculiar, I guess, about this game is, people end up figuring out that the prize packs between those really like dashing blue guards, mini Helmosaurs, and Pokies are all connected somehow. And yeah, so people also did find out that if you end up killing an enemy while dashing, it does not actually advance the prize pack. So if, in this case, because Kohrek and Caznode looks like they both managed to preserve their prize packs without incrementing it, there is going to be a chance that they're going to get a fairy later on when they kill the Pokies in Turtle Rock, which is definitely when you really kind of want that health refill.
Yeah, Caznode putting together a pretty decent Aga Tower here. These 3 rooms that he's going through are kind of the heaviest execution-wise. That Red Spear Guard room is tough. This Circle of Pots room, you can have a lot of RNGs. He got a pretty good one there. Yeah, that can make this room much more difficult than what he showed there.
All of these rooms, these runners look super easy because it's just so clean. They're really not actually showing any of the consequences where things go wrong. For example, in the Dark Maze, if you end up slashing or bonking, basically getting guards' attention, that room can go very, very poorly very quickly.
Yeah, so now we're getting into the Aghanim 1 fight here. So this is the major source of RNG in this speedrun, depending on how many blue ball attacks. Aghanim gives both these runners this kind of about 30-second gap between these two could be eaten up very easily with just slightly different RNG here.
Yeah, I think at some point someone did an analysis and there was a 50% chance that there's only going to be, I think, a 6 or 12-second difference between the two runners.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, but of course, there is, of course, that other 50% chance that, as you said, can definitely increase the amount of time between these two runners. As we see caznode getting his very first blue ball.
So just one in the first cycle here, so that's pretty good. Caznode getting a second.
Yeah, of course, you definitely still want to hope that Aghanim doesn't warp too far off, because every warp, if he goes from corner to corner of the screen, is going to just eat up more time than you can't control.
So I think Caznode has a 50-50 chance to have 3 here. Oh no, it's guaranteed 3. Okay, so I believe, how many Kohrek getting his first? That was only one, right?
I think I only saw 1 so far. So hopefully it'll stay low for Kohrek's sake.
That's 2 for Kohrek. Okay, so I believe that means. Oh no, he's got 1 more here.
Alright, so does this mean it's going to be 3 blue balls for both runners, it looks like?
I think. I was kind of watching Caznode at the beginning of Kohrek's fight. Yes, okay,
Right.
That's good. That's kind of what you want to see in this tournament race, right? You don't want Aghanim deciding things.
Yeah.
So as long as they get the same amount, no matter how many that is, can't really complain.
Yeah, so the most important part for us, both of these runners, is that they are now officially out of the light world. A light world certainly causes a lot more. It does have a lot more variance, and but really, like these runners are really going to be able to shine when they get to dark world here.
Yeah, this is where the run gets really interesting, and as a runner is where the run gets really fun. Once you get out of light world, the difficulty ramps up, and the execution level also needs to ramp up as well. So coming out of light world, we got about a 40-second difference.
Yeah, we actually see Caznode entering the Palace of Darkness, bringing along our Kiki, the monkey friend, and it turns out you can actually give Kiki temporarily your boots to let him kind of go a little bit faster as well.
Yeah, so in the start of Palace of Darkness here, you're going to see these runners, they're going to have to collect a bunch of keys, as well they're going to pick up a lot of bombs, so kind of routing your bombs as well as your arrows efficiently is really important in this run. Palace of Darkness got a lot of bombs, so you can kind of stock up here for the beginning of the Dark World.
Oh, Kohrek, unfortunately getting quite just basically attacked from left and right. He had to deal with the Ropa and he had to deal with the Spear Guard to make sure in order to not lose Kiki. So for those of you, of course, playing casually, if you end up getting hit with when you have a monkey friend, he runs away because he gets scared. And in order to get him back, you definitely need 10 more rupees, which in this case, Kohrek nor Caznode had to spare.
Yeah, both runners getting a little bit of bad RNG on their way to pod. Caznode having to deal with that high Nox, practicing his free throws a little bit, while Kohrek had a little bit bad luck with the enemies there, so I'm sure it all evens out a little bit.
Yeah, and normally during the RTA runs, this is kind of actually where Sankart probably has the most impact, in that if you don't pick up Sankart at the beginning of the run, you'll actually only have 6 hearts total. And one of the primary Dark World run killers here is our Palace of Dungeon boss, Helmasaur. He takes off 2 hearts of damage every time you get hit. So, if you have 7 hearts total versus 6, that is actually a very much safety buffer for you.
Here we go. Caznode here doing the hammer jump. It's a double pixel perfect bomb placement. That looks good on his side.
Yeah.
He executed that really, really well.
Yeah, no, caznode inside Palace of Darkness has actually been executing quite cleanly so far, so hopefully should be good. Of course, we're almost to the back of pod. There's going to be a little bit more source of RNG with some upcoming turtles, so hopefully the turtles will be able to treat both runners pretty well, and that they will all get flipped over at the same time, and then they can all get hit by one hammer.
Yeah, we got Kohrek here coming into his hammer jump. Another clean first bomb. Another perfect hammer jump. Really well done by both of them.
Nice job, Kohrek. Yeah. These runners are definitely keeping pace with each other. Some really nice mimics room also there by caznode. Of course, One of the nice things about not ever getting hit, beams can actually be quite annoying sometimes if you want to try and slash things with your sword, but all at the same time, we see a demonstration that we can actually use sword beams in order to hit the switch from far away. As opposed to, in this case, taking some backup and using one of our precious arrows, in this case, to hit that switch.
Yeah, both these guys putting together a pretty impressive pod. caznode had a really good statue time.
Almost looks identical situation here. Yeah, alright, unfortunately, caznode, these turtles aren't quite cooperating with them, so hopefully we won't actually lose too much health. Alright, turtles are down, but it was fortunate. It was probably a bit of more of a rave than a walk.
Yeah. And now we're coming into the helmet sword fight here. As you mentioned, this is one of the spots in this run where Sankheart really helps, although you see caznode there performing the spin speed glitch, and that will allow him to extend the hitbox for his hammer, and that discovery, which happened fairly recently, has really made this fight both a lot easier and more consistent, as casnode's taking a couple smacks in the face though.
Yeah, so alright, so at least he cleans up Helma relatively safely, which is always, good to see. Yeah. So Helmazar has pretty much like two moves. One is the tailspin, and one is we actually saw the caznode on casnode's head, which is the fireball. So sometimes runners will try and delay their last hammer hit, so that if they do get a fireball, it will and you hammer at the same time, kind of ends up canceling out the animation, so you get no fireballs instead of a bunch in your face. Looks like caznode decided to try and be a little bit faster, but kind of got unlucky there with getting the fireballs after all.
You see Kohrek also opting for the spin speed Helma. I think most runners this one are doing it. He's getting a little low. The Helma giving him some really good RNG there. No spinning up the fireballs in the second phase, so that allowed him to play it pretty safe.
Alright, so
that was
far?
a really good pod for Kohrek. That's close to his gold.
Yeah, one thing through all of these NMG runs is I didn't realize how long these crystal cutscenes take. Like, this is 53 seconds from crystal pickup. It's like, it didn't actually feel like a minute long until you actually, I guess, like, sit there and time it.
It's even worse when you gotta spend the whole time mashing buttons furiously like these guys do.
Caznode being the first of our two runners, likely splitting out of the Palace of Darkness, has some really nice clean dashes there, saying goodbye to the first of our murdered friends. That dash actually does look surprisingly dangerous and close, but if you do it correctly, just like what Caznode did, you will never get hit. Never with an asterisk, of course.
Yeah, this so now we're coming into the Thieves Town split. This overworld is one of the trickier overworlds. So see Kohrek getting a little bit of bad luck there with the Popo sitting on his face like that. That's always pretty annoying, and there's really not a whole lot you can do about it.
Yeah, health itself going into Thieves Town isn't going to be too much of an issue, but of course, you really don't want ever to run the risk of dying. Blind himself is usually not an issue because he is scripted, but there are actually quite a few things in Blind's dungeon itself that actually can do quite a bit of damage.
You see Kohrek there perform the hammer dash over that bridge. That was a spicy hammer dash that he just did. You can't make it much tighter than that.
You gotta make up time somewhere, right?
That's true.
Yeah, speaking of speed here, we saw caznode side getting probably one of the most important spin speeds of the game. If you end up not getting it, we actually did see him kind of running right past an incredibly fast red guard. If you don't get spin speed there, you will more often than not get hit, and that damage not only is going to shoot your health, but the amount of time loss you have to do in order to try and escape the guard is actually quite costly.
You see both runners getting their flute here, and the flute activation is, I think, one of the longest cutscenes that's not a crystal cutscene in this game. Gives you a minute just to kind of reflect on your run, think about what you've done wrong up to this point, and figure out how the hell you're going to win this thing.
Or maybe think about the things that, went well, hopefully. It is a mental reset, as you said, because we don't have any text to match. We can just kind of sit there and take a couple deep breaths. Play the flute.
So both these guys playing really well. Outside of, the slight issues with Moldorm, for both runners kind of, although Kohrek's were a little bit more significant, both these guys playing really well.
Alright, caznode being the first bunch of runners into Thieves Town. He did make a quick downward hop to get to the bottom floor, and we actually saw that on that screen. The pink Zizak managed to stay quite far away from him. That Zizak really has a very annoying habit to kind of just be in your way when you drop down and you just lose sweethearts for no reason.
Yeah, Thieves Town, not a super dangerous split, but there are some rooms that are actually coming up on Kazno's side that can get pretty tricky.
Yeah, I see Kohrek also pulling open Thieves Town entrance on the very left as he can go. You see Kohrek also trying to drop down and not get hit by that red Zizak as well. But in order to try and get the left side, sometimes if you are too far over to the center or the right, oh, that was really nice hallway dash there on Kazno's side. Just to finish up the thought for Kohrek, you also don't want to get bamboozled by that ghost that's kind of floating around, so definitely want to try and open the gate as far left as you can.
You see Kazno going here into the bottom floor. Oh, slashes right instead of up there, so he got kissed by that grasshopper, but still recovers pretty nicely. And taking 2 hearts of damage here is not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and especially he's past the hellway, so the amount of damage you can probably take at this point is definitely at least the chances of you being in imminent danger is definitely reduced at this point.
Kohrek also got a perfect hellway dash, but he got a little bit of bad luck that Kazno did not. So now we got Kazno going to the basement. He's got to grab the maiden here, grab his mitts, and then make his way up to the blind fight. Nice bomb drop there on Kazno's side.
Yeah, both runners very much taking care to make sure that the ceiling floor was bombed open before they left the room. That is something that you really want to make sure happens before you leave the room, or more importantly, also you leave the whole floor.
Yeah, we've all done it. Alright, so coming to the blind fight on Kazno's side, as everybody knows, blind is a scripted fight. Meaning that if he does the same movements, the boss will do the same movements. And so, as long as you can execute that, this is pretty free.
Kohrek, alongside this really nice fight there on Kazno's side, looks like he is also hugging the wall up top, potentially to hopefully try and reduce some animation lag there on his side. Alright, hopefully this will also be just as nice and clean fight on Kohrek's side.
Yeah, Kohrek putting together a pretty good Thieves Town here, especially considering some of the bad RNG he got. Right, through phase run pretty cleanly.
Yeah, so even probably more important to actually get through this scripted blind fight is that if for whatever terrible happening that you end up dying to blind, the refight is significantly harder. Not only are you kind of down on health initially to begin with, is that you have to. Normally, you're allowed to kind of start the blind fight from above blind. Blind already starts at the top of the ceiling, so you're gonna have to kind of fight and basically react to all of the fireball and head RNG, which is definitely not easy because it is not scripted at that point.
Yeah, it's impossible. The refight. Alright, so on Casno's side here, we're going to the Skullwood split. So first he's got to do a little bit of shopping, steal 600 rupees here from the village, and return our frog friend to get the Tempered Sword, which is a very significant damage upgrade from the Master Sword. You see Casno here going for the older strat on returning the Lumberjack.
That is true.
You don't see that too much anymore.
Yeah, we're actually going to see a probably very short demonstration, shortly demonstrated by Kohrek, actually the slightly newer strats, which is where you leave your mirror portal towards the side of the screen, or the closer entrance of the screen is done. And Matt, is it really stealing? You know, when you're already stealing from thieves, you know, this is like Robin Hood, right?
That's true. Returning. Let's just say they're Zora's rubies to begin with, weren't they?
Oh yeah. Oh, so we're working for the fish mafia. I got it.
Apparently. All right, so we got caznode coming up to the most important trick of the game. See if he can get the fence dash. Oh, he had to bail out there. I think he knew he didn't have it.
Yeah. Was he listening to you, Matt? All right, so of course, you know, the Tempered Sword that does twice as much damage as the Master Sword only apparently costs 10 rupees in the grand scheme of things. While it is technically not required in order to beat the game, the amount of time save it gives you versus having Master Sword throughout the rest of the game is definitely very, very significant. Completely worth your time to pick this up.
Yeah, as we see Casno here entering into the second most difficult room in this game, the mummy statue. These mummies will get in your face, and he got pretty good RNG there, and it was pretty well executed. As we see, Kohrek, at least he took his bonk like a man. He may have failed the fence dash, but he won our hearts there.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Casno coming into our next bomb jump of this game. This is one of the more safe ones, to get across this pit here and grab your fire rod, which is your key into the back of Skullwoods.
Yeah, certainly caznode at this point having more than enough health, just being able to drop down versus bonking, because bonking back, of course, is going to eat up more time. Using those iframes, of course, when you end up taking damage, to be able to dash through the bottom one, the bottom row of bushes, and right through that rope. It's always pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
Kohrek.
Pretty nice mummy statue room there from Kohrek as well.
Certainly, yeah. As you said, Matt, like these runners have definitely been, you know, very clean executors so far this game. I think it's actually just been a really nice treat to be able to see how things are done well and done right. Kind of makes you forget sometimes when all the things like go wrong.
Yeah, it's nice when you can put a decent run together in this situation. Really nice torches room there on Casno's side as he's about to drop into the Mothula fight. Moth is very easy when done well, but it can definitely get off the rails a little bit, and the longer the fight takes, the more difficult it becomes. So you see him those slashes when he hits Mothia into the spikes. He's having a little bit of trouble. Okay, he's got to be real careful now. One hit from Mothia will end him. Okay, nice job there, being patient and making sure Moth went in the middle so he could kill him.
Yeah, admittedly, Moth is, if you end up dying here, it's probably not going to be, like, the worst death out of all the Dark World bosses, but still, I mean, a death at this point, right, is going to be pretty costly for both these winners in terms of time.
Yeah, a death to Moth would definitely put Kohrek ahead.
Kohrek also executing the back of skull was very well, being able to slash that Gibdo right into that spike. Spikes do gold sword damage, which is so one requires 2 slashes as opposed to tempered sword basically getting more. And of course, you know, these runners didn't have sword beams to begin with, but if you did, wow, that is a super clean fight there on Kohrek's side. Great Moth fight, Kohrek. That definitely gave him back some time, you know, compared to caznode here.
Yeah, Kohrek getting a very, very friendly Moth pattern there, which really helped him get that quick kill.
Yeah, and Moth is coded somewhat oddly, I guess, because, you know, if you end up knocking Moth into the spikes, it will do no damage. So if you actually bring Gold Sword here, it'll also do no damage. Fighter Sword, it actually will do some damage, and that's why, even though these runners didn't have to lose sword beams, if you have full health, you definitely actually want to take a little bit of damage, so you can do full temper sword damage, as opposed to just the normal beams. As actually we did see on Kazno's side, it was kind of cool to see this as he entered Dark World and trying to make his way to Catfish. There was actually a moblin trying to spear him. Caznode was able to react quickly, turn around, use the shield that his uncle gave him, and block that shield, block the spear, so he doesn't have to be interrupted when he runs away.
Yeah, what a gamer! That was really nice. So now we're into the Ice Palace split. This is arguably the most dangerous split in the run. There's a lot that can go wrong in Ice Palace, and this is kind of the start of the run where the damage that enemies do really ramps up.
Yeah, I think, I might have just missed this quickly, but I think Caznode ended up tossing in his rock just slightly outside of the pond, which I think does save him a couple extra frames. It turns out there is a, it's more of, as we said, is more of a hit box instead of a hit circle. Oh wow! Almost getting sniped there by the fireballs from Sora.
Yeah, it's really important to keep full health in this Ice Palace overworld portion. Having the sword beams going into Ice Palace really makes the dungeon easier, and it saves you a decent amount of time.
Yeah, the Caznode here is coming up actually on probably one of the most nerve-wracking set of screens in order to keep your hearts. Crabs here, if you get hit by them, they do 2 damage, but most importantly, it is actually going to be that Zora that potentially is going to pop up. Looks like it's actually going to be pretty friendly. Castor's going to have more than enough time to get through this portal and keep his full health, and he's going to be able to use sword beams here right in the second room of ice.
Yeah, that was a good pattern on his side. So we have Kohrek paying his 500 to get his pair of flippers here. So in that second room that you see on Casno's side, that is really one of the 2 main rooms where the sword beams save a lot of time, because those jellies can just start electrocuting, and if you don't have sword beams, you really have no way to kill them outside the fire rod, and that is both slow and costing magic.
Yeah, those of you who've ever probably tried to kill Baris, or deal with Baris in this game, you know that there is a lot of time that they can cost you. So if they are, of course, in their electrocuting phase, they just kind of stay there for a while, right? And you kind of have to just wait it out unless you have a projectile weapon, or sword beams in this case. Oh wow, Kohrek even getting a nice extra bomb drop here from the Zora. He managed to keep his sword beams as well. But yeah, otherwise, if you slash the bars and they electrocute you, you're also going to have to sit through the electrocution animation and then also wait.
Yeah, the one good thing about that guy getting in your way on Kohrek's side is sometimes, or he always tosses you a bomb, and most of the time you can pick it up. So you got Caznode about to attempt the Ice Palace bomb jump. This is a very mandatory bomb jump in this speed run. And it looks like he got that set up good. Oh, that was not quite good. Opting to go out and go back in. A lot of runners line this up, having a little bit more trouble here. He's not quite getting on the edge. There you go. He got it that time. That looks good. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Careful, caznode.
So, not being able to do or having a little bit of issue here with Ice Palace bomb jump. Oh wow, it looks like he just got nicked. So resources definitely come at a premium in this run. Bombs are not usually talked about because everybody cares about the number of arrows. But of course, you end up taking multiple attempts at Ice Palace bomb jump. The bomb count is actually going to be decrementing faster, and you also do lose health with every try.
Kohrek doing a slightly different bomb jump setup. That looks good as well. Okay, so Kohrek just made up a lot of time there with that well executed Ice Palace bomb jump. And so the other thing about Caznode's issues is that now he's only on 3 hearts, so he's about to drop into the Cold Stare fight, and Cold Stare does 4 hearts of damage. So he's got to be very careful.
Yeah, so of course this Cold Stare is 100% a very dangerous boss. Cold Stare, as you said, Matt, does 4 hearts of damage. The little falling icicles do 2 hearts of damage, so he is technically not in one-hit KO mode, but ideally, for both these runners' sake, I hope neither of them gets hit. Nice job there on Caznode's side. Very clean Cold Stare fight.
We didn't mention about on Kohrek's side. He did a really nice clip into the stairs there in that firebar room.
I have been told that it is completely free in order to get that. Saves. I think Kohrek actually timed it. Saved at least for him. It saved about actually a second, so it was very well worth his time to do. Kohrek also having really nice Cold Stare fight, just slashing and keeping it those puffs in the corner until they just die.
Yeah, you see Kohrek going for the 6 slash strategy, whereas Caznode had going with the single poke. The 6 slash is a little tricky. I think it's like a little bit more difficult and it's a little slower. So good to see him execute that cleanly. So we've got a real close race on our hands here. We'll see at Sword Up exactly what the difference is.
Yeah. I think coming into Dark World, I think it was maybe something about like a 40-second difference. So we definitely can kind of retime it, taking advantage of those iframes, going through the mirror portal, having a little bit of trouble getting his spin speed on Death Mountain. It looks like this is going to be where Caznode at least does his a few of our extra item pickups, which is Ether Medallion, and he may do Ice Ride after this, but we'll see.
So the difference is now 26 seconds, and shout out to Kohrek, who got a 4-second Ice Palace gold there. That's a big, it's a fat goal. All right, we've seen both runners grabbing the Ether Medallion here in the Swamp Palace split. I think most people are doing it this way. Taking damage on Death Mountain can be a little treacherous, and the Swamp Palace is not nearly as dangerous as Misery Mire, which is the other split where you can grab the Ether Medallion.
Yeah, given that we are actually coming up to Death Mountain, and Death Mountain is notorious for chipping away or just kind of bamboozling, draining your health away. If the next palace or destination you're going to go to is Swamp, having Sword Beams there or kind of reduced set of health isn't going to be kind of like the end of the world. What you really want is full health in order to keep your Sword Beams for Mire. So any amount of danger that you want to impose upon yourself, hope you can do it now, sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and we're seeing a bit of route diversions here. You see Kohrek grabbing the Ice Rod in the Swamp Palace split. I'm guessing we'll see Caznode do it in the Turtle Rock split. So we're going to be a little bit desynchronized for a while here, but these guys will converge in Turtle Rock.
Alright, Kohrek. That crowd. Glad Kohrek.
A few tries to hammer dash that. I don't even think actually saves time, but it's to each their own. Yeah, Swan Palace.
You do what you're used to.
Yeah, that's true. Swan Palace is not too dangerous again, but it's a very tricky split, like movement-wise, and there are a lot of small things that can really add up when it comes to taking damage here.
Yeah, unlike what we actually see in Ice Palace and to some extent Thieves Town, a lot of enemies kind of do 2 hearts of damage. Swan Palace is actually supposed to be the second crystal dungeon, at least in the game, in the intended playthrough of the game. So coming in here, you're probably not going to have normally this much health, and enemies also don't do as much damage, right? The skeletons do something like half a heart, right? Fireballs do 1 heart, but definitely nothing kind of that will, a couple hits will definitely not, I guess, like end your run, right? But it just kind of like chip away your time.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, Kessel getting a little bit bullied here by this Stalfos, but manages to get the switch flipped.
Yeah, and this is actually kind of like a pretty good demonstration, so thanks, caznode. Is that, you see that these skeletons were only kind of do half hard damage, but in this case, he gets interrupted every single time that he is trying to flip that switch. You kind of have to start from the beginning again. So even though caznode probably doesn't even care about the hell, he probably just cares about the fact that he just lost a bunch of time to that skeleton.
Yeah, like you can go into the Argus fight just 10 seconds behind, having really no idea where you lost it in this split. We see caznode here on his way to get the big key. Then I'll have to backtrack and get the hook shot before he can make his way to the boss.
Yeah, this is actually probably one of my actual game design complaints, is that, actually in Pod, right, the mirror was incredibly helpful to route and to be able to use. You can mirror out basically every single time you get a chest. Here, once we get the big key, we actually have to physically backtrack in order to be the fastest, as opposed to we can just mirror back out.
And not only that, you got all this water slowing you down.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Zora's 500 payoff is is worth it in this particular place.
It's true. See caznode do a very specific lineup here when he grabs his hook shot, so we can make sure he can hook this second pot that has a key in it. That was well executed on his side.
Yeah, preemptive slashing as well to be able to dash down, as opposed to potentially still getting hit by these water techniques, I guess.
In this room, you can't really tell, but he did a dash with his hook shot there to allow him to pick up that pot with the statue over it more easily. I don't know why that happens, but it just happens.
Alright, Kohrek coming up to his big key, so he's going to also do the same backtracking. He looks like actually he has not lost any health, which is really great. Not necessarily because Kohrek was ever really in danger of dying, but it kind of means that he's actually hopefully had a relatively good, quick Swan Palace.
Yeah, so we got caznode here having to pick up that extra bomb because of his Ice Palace shenanigans, but coming to the Argus fight, I would expect both of these runners to go for the 0 cycle Argus. This is a very challenging trick, but it does save you about 7 seconds if you can execute it. caznode looking good so far, getting just a little bit of bad movement there. Oh, he did get it. Wow, nice recovery. I didn't think he got it. Yeah.
Kohrek, making sure that he. So, and unfortunately, I guess I spoke too soon, and he ended up getting kind of bodied by some enemies, so he lost a sword beam. So, actually, before dashing into that Bari, in order to avoid electrocution, he ended up kind of taking a bit of a delay with a couple of sword slashes, and he knows that after that he was able to dash with impunity.
Yeah, pretty good Swan Palace here from caznode. Only about what it looks like 5 or 6 seconds above his gold.
Yeah, which see, as you said, so caznode ended up picking up both the bombs and arrows, most likely due to how many bombs he kind of lost in Ice Palace. But Kohrek, having 2 bombs to spare, he only needed to pick up his arrows there, saving him, I guess, just a handful of more frames over caznode.
Okay, so Kohrek is not going for the zero cycle. This is a much more, I guess, consistent may not be the right word, but way to kill the boss. But it is slightly slower.
Yeah, so 1 cycle?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Kohrek, going actually for the 2 fire rod shots and the spin. So, I have seen runners miss that, so really glad for a very clean phase 2. You know, actually, I'm pretty good Argus in general for Kohrek here. There are some other strats where people decide to spin twice. Definitely much more reliable, but of course it is a little bit slower than fire rodding and spinning once.
Yeah, so decent Swan Palace on Kohrek's side. Yeah, we still can't compare. You got to keep in mind that Kohrek has completed a ice rod trip that caznode has not. So the gap between these two runners is much closer than it appears.
Yeah, speaking of Meyer, we're gonna see on Kazno's side right now why we want to keep sword beams for this room. Wow.
Yeah, really nice fast Meyer too on Kazno's side. Okay, so Meyer again, another very dangerous split. This whole end game gets very treacherous. The enemies in here are now doing a lot of damage. It's kind of a weird transition. You go from Ice Palace, where everything hits super hard, to Swamp Palace, where it's much easier. But now this whole end game, you're going to have enemies that do 2 or 4 hearts of damage everywhere.
Yeah, especially after Ice Palace. So the dungeon prize that we did not see any runners get, in addition to that big key, is the blue mail, which normally just basically half the damage that you take. So the game at this point, after Ice Palace assumes that you have that as your prize. So it's definitely very much up the amount of difficulty and the how hard enemies will hit you for. So actually a lot of the things in Meyer actually will end up doing 4 hearts of damage on green mail because it expects you have blue mail, which then it'll say, oh, okay, you only have 2 hearts of damage to have to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. So Caznode getting 105, about 15 torches there. He doesn't have ice rods, so he's on pace for like a low 126, I think.
I will take your word for it. Alright, we see Kohrek making his way also through Meyer. I think he had actually just as nice, very fast-paced Meyer too, with those sword beams. He also managed to get a quick warp coming out of Swamp, which was pretty nice. So quick warps for if you can get a quick warp, it is a 34 frame save, which is something right around half a second.
Kohrek getting a little unlucky with that bomb there. At least he didn't get hit by the slug. The bomb only does 1 heart, but the slug does 4, and you really need health going into the boss in Misery Mire. Both these runners are going to do a strategy where they damage boost off the kind of goo that surrounds the boss here, Vitreous, to only take 100 damage and do damage to the boss.
Yeah, so it looks like Casno's going in with 8 hearts, which is definitely going to be pretty comfy. 7 is nice. 5, I think, is the minimum that you need in order to be able to do the fast kill strats.
Yeah, 5 is very tight here. And here we're going to see the spooky action glitch on Casno's side. You saw him dash before he put down his cane block. That will allow him to fire rod this spike to hit a switch that is further up in the room. And in this next room, he is going to shoot another fire rod shot to the left at a certain vertical position, which will hit a switch in the room above that room, which will save him from having to bomb open a wall and hit a switch. It was nicely executed on his side.
Yeah, looks like Kohrek opted to take the higher route for at least try to make his way to the big key. So there are some runners that will try and dash through the bottom and try to use a menu buffer to get through that spark in order to gamble their way over to the right side.
Casno's in trouble. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, he got...
Did he get sniped by the... Oh.
In his second trip back into the goo, he got hit by an eye, and that other one, it just tracked him down. That was both bad luck, and it was just super unfortunate there.
Alright, so this actually is quite the turn then for Kohrek. So we actually see that now Kohrek is on his way over to Vitreous, where caznode has to kind of make his way back over to Vitreous in order to fight him.
Yeah, Vitreous is a fairly costly death. This definitely has swung this race fairly significantly in Kohrek's favor.
Now, I'm actually not sure if either runner is actually watching their opponent's streams or even the restream for that matter. I know that Kohrek historically has not seen this, so hopefully he's just playing his game. But runners are allowed to watch their opponents. So hopefully this doesn't kind of like tilt caznode in this case.
Yeah, the important thing is there's a lot of dangerous stuff coming up on both sides. It's just like kind of keep your cool and just keep playing well. Like Vitreous claims a lot of runs. It is one of the most dangerous bosses, maybe the second most, apart from Cold Stairs. You see Kohrek doing the strategy I was talking about, using the goo just to take 100 damage. Really nicely executed.
Wow, yeah, that was a
zero cycle Vitreous there.
Yeah, so the first spin, you want to try and aim for like the left 4 to 5, and then the second spin, you pretty much are trying to get as many as you can to the center, and the third one's just going to be clean up. Sometimes you end up not getting all of the ones to the right, but just kind of see Kohrek with that bow pulling out to make sure that you can just scramble through any of the remaining little eyeballs. Definitely want to make sure that we have at least 8 arrows, though, going on leaving Mire.
All right, we got caznode coming in here for round 2. Looks like he got it pretty cleanly there. Should be able to clean this up. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, no.
The fight always goes perfectly. That is the rule of this game.
Yeah, and we actually see, speaking of tilt, looks like caznode actually, he's keeping his focus. Definitely, I'm sure he's practiced Vitreous quite a few number of times. But, in this case, he basically just kept his cool and just went back and just demolished him.
All right, so now we're really getting into the end game here. As you see, Kohrek starting the Turtle Rock split. This is, again, I'm going to keep saying this, another super dangerous split. There's some very difficult rooms in Turtle Rock that can end your run very quickly.
Man, the danger doesn't even start but when you're inside the dungeon. There is plenty of danger right here on this screen. As we see, Kohrek not only taking some damage from the dead rock as well as the boulders. That room is pure RNG. Try and do your best to get good RNG in the future.
Yeah, so the damage he's taking coming to Turtle Rock is not a big deal. It's really mostly the time's loss. If you remember, 15 minutes ago when we were talking about Aghanim's Tower, that those price bag cards that he dealt with will allow him to get a ferry in Turtle Rock. It's a little bit RNG dependent on when he will get it, but he definitely will be able to refill his health.
Okay, that dead rock was surprisingly friendly to Kohrek, not end up kind of bamboozling him to at least let him continue to pick up the rock. Alright, Kohrek menuing correctly too quick. Gonna open up Turtle Rock here very shortly and then make his way to the dungeon.
Yeah, so we can get entry times to see exactly what the difference is between these two.
Yeah, and good reaction here on caznode's side to be able to react to at least the dead rocks. Unfortunately, the boulders kind of did the tag team and decided to get him instead. You see on Kohrek's side, one of the reasons is that if you end up luckily having full health, you can actually preemptively sword beam away those barries. In this case, Kohrek actually took a bit of a chance to to slash the barries in the way, and luckily didn't electrocute him. So if you get electrocuted on the platform, you fall off, and then you have to kind of restart again, which health probably isn't going to be too much of it. It's really just going to be the time loss.
You'll see Kohrek here take a damage boost off that roller, which will allow him to get through the second roller and dash out of the room. And so now Kohrek is coming up to what is objectively the worst room in the game, which is our friends Chain Chomps. These guys do 4 hearts of damage and can end your run very quickly. So now he could get his fairy here on this pokey, which he does.
Look at that. Yeah, so that's exactly what you want to see. This is probably the most convenient place in order to get your fairy here on the pokey.
Nicely executed on Kohrek's side.
Really nice taking those iframes from the switch in order to basically sneak right past those chain chops. So ideally, if Kohrek can keep his sword beams, which is hopefully likely, he's going to be able to save about potentially half a second in the crystal roller room, because he's going to be able to beam the switch as opposed to use the Key of Samaria.
Yeah, so based on their entry times, we've got a 1 minute and 15-second gap between these two. So that is not safe, but it is very significant. Kohrek is going to have to make a mistake to lose this race.
Kohrek definitely taking his time to be patient in order to be able to kill that Pokey first try. But yeah, as you said, Matt, so there are only a couple splits left, but these splits are extremely high execution. Gauntlet is never easy for anybody, and lots of things can happen. There's still a lot of imminent danger here in Turtle Rock, in Ganon's Tower, and of course on Ganon himself. Nobody's ever died to Ganon, right?
No, definitely not. It's impossible. Nice sword beam strat there, and chomps by Kohrek, or not Kohrek, by caznode.
Nice dash also there, timing on Kohrek's side. He's got his magic drop, he's got his fairy, he doesn't care about anything else these Pokies can give him. And in fact, I think if they end up dropping an 8-pack, he's probably just gonna ignore them.
Yeah, now we're at the part of the run where you don't want bombs. And that room there, as you see on Kohrek's side, is exactly what you were referring to as the slight time save from having beams in the back of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, Kohrek also making sure to place the Key of Samaria block to make sure that he places it first before he gets on the conveyor belt. It's certainly not the first time that a runner has, I guess, been too fast for their own good and fallen off and taken harder damage.
Alright, we got Kohrek here coming into the laser skip. A few different ways you can do this. Going for the block placement. It's a nice, safe, consistent strat there.
There are definitely some cases where I think you can, just dash like straight through the beetle, hopefully, and use those iframes to get to the chest.
Yeah, but you got to read the RNG in that situation, so it's a little bit trickier, but it is a little bit faster to do that. Ooh, Kohrek, a little bad luck there with that Pokey placement. Good thing he's got lots of health.
Yeah, thank you, Fairy, from like 30 minutes ago. Or, sorry, thank you for being able to let us have the Fairy from 30 minutes ago. Alright, caznode also being able to pick up his Fairy, doing the exact same thing, Crystal Roller Room. Right.
See, Kohrek going for some front door Trinex here. You don't see that too often, but nice, safe, consistent way to do this fight. I would expect to see a different strategy from caznode. Kohrek gotta be a little careful here.
He's certainly past the dangerous part of Trinex. Trinex set, of course, does 4 hearts of damage. If you really need to take damage, try and ram yourself into his body, which is only 1 heart, but Kohrek definitely taking it a little bit safer and not kind of taking Trinex phase 2 head on, so to speak, and just kind of slashing him from the side until he's dead.
Yeah, definitely a safe strat there.
Yeah, dying to Trinex is really it's something maybe I want to say like 3 minutes time loss or something. I thought it was only going to be like 45 or something, but then I remembered you don't take the safety door. So yeah, you're gonna have to start the dungeon like from its very, very beginning.
Yeah, it's pretty significant. Watching that Trinex fight kind of to me tells me that Kohrek is watching the stream and he knows his position. But I can't be sure. I haven't watched too many of his runs, so I don't know what his normal fight looks like.
So I think historically he's gotten definitely much more comfortable with backdoor strats. I thought in this last race against Oasa he did do backdoor, but if he is just wants to fall back, right, and he knows he's ahead, right, whatever amount you do in order to keep your lead, you're definitely going to do that.
Yeah, you see caznode doing the backdoor strategy, executing it really well. Well, the one thing about this game, though, is playing safe is often the most dangerous thing you can do.
Yeah, it should be playing safe. Should be the same thing as playing what you're used to, right? Because when nerves get to you, you really just want to be able to fall back on your muscle memory and just do what you've always been doing for the last 600-ish runs or however many you've had so far.
Yeah, Kohrek's putting himself together a really nice Dark World here. I think he's only a few seconds. He's only lost a few seconds on his PB.
Yeah, as you see, Kohrek opting to get the first of the 3 discretionary keys. So there are 3 keys that people can pick up, kind of whatever they feel comfortable with. The torch small key is, of course, by far the safest, but also does take the most amount of time because you have to, bonk the torch and then wait for the thing to drop, as opposed to kind of like the 2 optional keys that you see at the top of GT, which is off the mini helmet store and in the chest right before Moldor 2.
Nice hook shot there to get that second key.
Yeah, caznode though, hot on Kohrek's heels, so I imagine he is going to opt for one of the upper GT keys. But I guess I'm not too familiar with.
Yeah, I would guess he's getting the pre-Moldorm key. So I think caznode made up a little bit of time. But the gap is still pretty significant. Being in Kohrek's shoes is always kind of interesting. This game's a lot harder to play when you're thinking, don't mess up, rather than, I gotta go fast. This is why I don't watch the streams when I race.
That I certainly do not blame you. And for all we know, maybe Kohrek has just kind of turned off the stream at this point. He's like, I know I'm ahead, maybe the nerves are gonna get to me, and, I'm just gonna play my game at this point. Alright, so dropping into ice arrows on Kohrek's side, he has 19 arrows, which is 1 more arrow than the requisite number that you would like to have. Looks like a pretty good setup though for ice arrows. And 1 more for the wall, of course, for good measure, but the important part is that Ice Armos is down, so he's going to grab the big key, going to grab his 10 arrows, 8 of them he's going to need for Mimics, and hopefully maybe get a drop or 2, and get some extra arrows for Gauntlet, but otherwise we should be good to go.
Yeah, he had a clean Armos fight there, so that means his Ganon fight will be easier because he will know what pattern the bats in Phase 2 of Ganon will give him now, so it's a nice piece of safety as well. So these 2 Mimics rooms here are some of the most difficult to execute well in the game. Your movement has to be pretty perfect to get good room times here.
Yeah, this was pretty nice Mimics rooms. You even got a nice 5 arrow drop there from one of them. So while arrows are not technically needed in GT in the Gauntlet, they're definitely going to help Kohrek at least with some execution. Being able to have a projectile here and there is definitely going to be very helpful in terms of time.
Yeah, Kohrek having a little trouble with the spike room, but he's still got 9 hearts. That is definitely plenty for a GT climb. You see, Kohrek going into the Gauntlet. This is almost surely the highest execution part of the run. You got 5 rooms here. Just kill all the enemies as fast as you can.
Yeah, we actually do see that Kohrek is taking advantage of that bow and arrow, being able to try and shoot down some of these skeletons along the way. See, Zyzax decided to kind of play on the conveyor belt a little bit. It's a nice pattern though from the pink Zyzax to let Kohrek kind of like dash right through. Nice snipe there with the bow on Kohrek's side to get that last skeleton. There are some runners, maybe caznode will do this, will switch the fire rod in order to use the splash deletion to get that skeleton so he doesn't have to depend on the bow and arrow, but Kohrek looks pretty comfortable with this.
You see Kohrek going into our second Light World boss refight here with the Land Molas 2. A little bit of a bad pattern there, but cleans it up nicely with the 2 cycle, which is all he needs in this situation.
Yeah, as you said, like there were 2 short hops in that, so that was definitely really unfortunate. But at least the good news is that Kohrek has plenty of magic, I guess, to use for these upcoming rooms.
Yeah, he's got a bit of extra by using that arrow in Gauntlet room there. Ooh, that was a close one for that Ridge Road, but he managed to get through that unscathed. Those whiz robes will do 4 hearts damage if they hit you in the face.
Yeah, Kohrek also managed to dash through those red guards at the end. Those guys are surprisingly clinkable and can definitely body you sometimes if you're not lucky enough.
Ooh, really nice recovery there on Casno's side, getting the 1 cycle ammo.
Alright, Kohrek just taking his time to make sure the spark passes. It is possible to light the upper right torch before the spark comes over, but it is it frame perfect? I'm not sure. The timing is really, really tight.
Alright, now Kohrek going into get his revenge on Moldorm here, which gave some trouble back in Tower of Hera, but he's much better equipped now. Really nice slash and spin.
And no middle hold to fall down.
I will say, as I see it in chat, caznode is catching up. He's still got quite a bit to go, but he's made up a decent amount of time since that Vitreous death.
Yeah, you see that caznode ended up getting that fire rod shot on the upper right torch right before, so you only needed 4 fire rod shots without waiting. So every little bit that Casnode's doing is catching him up. Kohrek
Really nice.
having a really nice pattern there. Of course, there was also skill involved in order to get that triple. Oh, so close.
That would be a
to-
nice double too. That's a tough one to
so
get.
close.
Looks like he's getting a 3 cycle, I think. Yeah, for sure. Okay, 3 cycle is nobody will complain about a 3 cycle I get too.
Yeah, especially you got a blue ball in the second cycle, so it's just not even sometimes possible to get a 2 cycle. So yeah, as we said, if you can get a 3 cycle, that is you're definitely gonna be able to take that.
All right, so now we got Kohrek heading into the Ganon fight. This is another very difficult boss fight.
Potentially the hardest boss fight of this game.
Potentially, yeah.
Alright, so with Tempered Sword, we're going to need 12 slashes for phase 1, 12 slashes for phase 2, 4 for phase 3, and another 12 spins for phase 4.
Yeah, Kohrek getting a good pattern here. He just needs 1 more dash to end phase 2.
He does have to be a bit careful with these fire bats, but really nice 1-on-1 here on Kohrek's side. Definitely is past the most dangerous parts of the fight.
Nice, another nice Aga fight on Kaz's side. So now the really important thing he needs is to get the torch glitch.
Yeah, and the fact that Kohrek has his fire rod out is showing he's pretty confident with that fire rod. He's gonna make sure that he times this just right.
Oh no, he missed it.
Oh my
gotta
gosh!
be careful now. This is gonna be really tight now.
Oh man! All right, so what Kohrek was trying to do was that as long as you light the torch as long as you light the left torch before the right torch goes out, the right torch will always stay on. Unfortunately, Kohrek just slightly mistimed it with the fire rod, so now he's gonna have to kind of go back and forth.
He's a little off sync on his torches now too. So I think he's just gotta get this hit here and just let it reset. I can tell he's not used to doing lamp Ganon because he can't hold. Caznode takes a death here. We got some shenanigans going on right now.
This is an incredibly tense and close race. Hopefully Caznode just take a couple deep breaths to kind of reset mentally, and then just get right back in.
Yeah, so you see on Kohrek's side him holding out his sword as he lights the torch. You don't do that because the lamp cancels your sword out. I think he's got it down now. Yeah.
Oh, the things we learn. Yeah, and also kind of a consequence of not being able to get the torch glitch. We're actually kind of used to runners doing triples, right? When in their Zelda spins. I think it's just not feasible in order to do triples. So every single one of these things, you're gonna kind of get like 2 spins in before you have to kind of start relighting your torches as well.
Yeah, you just want to go for doubles. He seems to be getting the hang of it now. I don't think he has that many hits left.
Alright, Alright, still gotta take care to not get hit by, knocked off by these fire bats.
I gotta admit, I have not been counting.
No.
He's gotta be close at this point.
It's too much action to see back and forth. You know, between missing Torch Glitch on Kohrek's side and caznode taking an early Ganon death, this is really quite the finish.
Yeah, he's been getting singles for the past few.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay, got him
Alright.
down.
Congratulations, Kohrek! So there's some very speedy things going on Kazno's side, or something really unfortunate on Kohrek's side. Get your GGs out in chat for Kohrek, who is going to finish first place in this race versus caznode. Let's see if there's an official time. With official time of 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 48 seconds. GGs, Kohrek.
Yeah, what an ending. Wow, that was
Yeah.
that was not what I was expecting at the end
wow. Yeah. Oh, geez. Caznode, right? Yeah, we see Caznode getting his Torch Glitch. And before, I guess, we were so busy. Congratulations, Kohrek. Caznode also is going to very quickly, shortly finish this race also.
Yeah, GG's to both runners. Really great race. Really kept everybody on the edge of their seat, I think. So it's always fun when you get these close races.
Yeah, looks like just about 35 to 40 second difference. Caznode finishing 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 22 seconds. GG's Caznode. This was a super tight race. Really just back and forth.
Yeah, we see if we can get these guys in here for a conversation.
Really just goes to show you as well, right? I mean, a 1 minute difference. I think you said at the very beginning of this race, Matt. Right? They had 1 minute difference in PB, and really anything could happen.
Yeah. So with that, I think we've got Kohrek in here. Kohrek, GG's. Nice run.
GG's.
Thank you. Wow, that was something.
So, yeah. All right. So, were you watching at all? Like, were you listening? Were you?
Not at all. I was completely isolated on the entire thing. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my nerves were pretty high. I just I wanted to try to get my nerves down, but that didn't really work for a while. But then once Hera happened, I'm like, well, this doesn't matter anyway. I'm fine. I can like my nerves calmed down a little bit, and then like. The Dark World was actually going fairly well, and I'm like, you know what? If something went wrong, this might actually be good. So then I started getting nervous again. I don't know.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier. Your Dark World was really good, right? You were like -7 or something on your PB entering Ganon, so I mean, you can never complain about that.
It's definitely. I'm pretty sure it's my best pod through GT ever.
That was a hot ice palace too. There, 4-second gold. Can't complain about that.
Yeah, that was something. That one was a long time coming, but we finally put one together. Outside of hopping in the water once, that was about as good as my current strats can do. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah, actually, as we were actually watching when you were in Ice Palace as well, it actually turns out that caznode actually had a little bit of issues with his Ice Palace bomb jump, so you actually managed to gain a little bit of time over him when you got yours first try.
Yes. So, do you know what happened?
I have no clue.
So, caznode was like a bit over a minute ahead. Then he died to Vitreous. Which put you ahead, and then you were ahead by like over a minute going into Ganon, and then you missed Torch Glitch, but caznode died on Ganon. So the end was just like a complete, like we had no idea what was going to happen at like numerous points in the Ganon fight.
That's amazing. Yeah, it was just the bad timing where I should have known better, and you can get an input there, and I just didn't double press it or anything, and I'm just like, oh no. And then I know that there's like a setup to get doubles with the lamp without Torch Glitch, but I couldn't remember what it was, so I'm just flailing around trying to get something to work.
Yeah, I was saying earlier that I thought you were watching the stream based on some of the strats you were doing, but when you didn't pull out the lamp in the Ganon fight, I was like, there's no way he's watching the stream. So
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I was definitely trying to be a little bit safe from here and there, but like on the other hand, I already lost a big chunk of time in Hera, and I don't want to like quit this run while you guys are out there commentating. So like doing something demoralizing like dying on Trinex, like I was just trying to avoid the Omega bad situations,
Yeah, actually, I think because I remember seeing you do backdoor strats before, and also when you're in GT, I thought you went for the pre-Moldrum 2 small key as well. But then I guess in this run, right, like you went for front door and you also just got the torch key like immediately.
Yeah, I haven't been confident with backdoor lately, but then I did some warm-ups, and I'm like, okay, no, we got this. And then I got there, and I had that weird anti-fairy thing, and I'm just like, you know what, we're doing front door today. That's fine.
So I think you're 1-1 now.
Yeah,
That's pretty good, right? And you still need to race the one runner with the worst PB than you. So I feel like you gotta be pretty happy with where you're at.
Well, that's true, but it's an async, and I already did mine, and I'm not so happy with that. But that's okay. Like I could definitely still win, but it was better than this run. But it was not as good as I'm capable of. Obviously, I have a trio of 128s in the group stage, which it happens.
I mean, a 128 won you this race, right? So who's to know? Who's to say what's going to happen in that third race?
Yeah, very true. Anything can happen in NMG. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong. So, and we saw some of them, I guess, between both of our races tonight. You saw a whole lot of them.
Yeah, definitely made for an exciting race, though. So the viewers enjoyed it, at least.
That's good. And just want to say thank you guys for commentating and for putting on this stream. And you know what? Let's just shout out to Blaine for putting on this tourney. Best... most efficient tourney I've been a part of in speedrunning. I can't think of another one that has been smoother and better. So just shout out to Blaine here.
Yeah, seriously, it's a great structure, great tournament for sure. A lot of fun. All right.
Oh, GG's Kohrek and also caznode. I guess we saw that.
Yes.
Even though
shout out to caznode as well.
Yes.
For being a great opponent, really friendly through the scheduling and the race room. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So even though it's vanilla, there still is randomness, as we saw. So it was a really great race. Also, thank you, Matt and Claire Mouse, for doing commentary. Always appreciate it. And I guess I believe the next match we'll be restreaming will be tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. I believe it's Louis versus Andy.
That's a hot match.
Yeah, that should be very interesting. It's one of the best
ones of this group stage.
So that should be pretty hype. Anything else anyone would like to say before we wrap things up?
No, just thanks a lot for putting on the restream. Thanks to Clearmos for joining
pleasure.
me, and GG's to both the runners.
Oh yeah, GG's, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. Glad I could do this. So, thanks everyone for joining us.
Thanks Kohrek again. Thanks caznode. Of course, you guys are the stars. So
yes,
it was a really awesome race to watch and commentate for.
It was a nail biter at the end, totally. So, okay, thanks everyone for joining us. We hope to see you soon. Take care. Have a good night, morning, or afternoon. Bye.